Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly mind-bending. We're bridging a massive gap between a 2,000-year-old Eastern philosophical text and the rigorous mathematical laws of modern theoretical physics. Now, I know, it sounds like a completely impossible combination, right? But stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to see exactly how these two seemingly opposite worlds crash together to give us this profound understanding of reality. And, honestly, the mechanics of our own minds.
So what if I told you that some of the absolute greatest minds in modern science turned to ancient philosophy for their breakthrough insights? Think about J. Robert Oppenheimer, one of the founding fathers of quantum mechanics and the atomic age. When he witnessed that devastating first atom bomb explosion, he didn't quote a physics textbook. No, he quoted the Bhagavad Gita. He was trying to wrap his head around this massive revelatory experience with the haunting words you see right here.
And here's the thing, this isn't just some casual, made-up link. Academic sources actually document this exact crossover. Oppenheimer was literally groping for a metaphor big enough to describe the sheer magnitude of what he was witnessing. And he found that perfect language right there in the epic Mahabharata. The physical and the spiritual were literally colliding right before his eyes.
Section 1. The ultimate crossover. Bridging the battlefield and the physics lab.
Okay, so to bridge these two worlds, the ancient chariots of Kurukshetra and the totally sterile environment of a modern physics lab, we need to lay down a core philosophical baseline from Chapter 5. Usually, when people hear the word renunciation, they immediately picture someone running away to meditate in a mountain cave forever. But the text makes it clear, true renunciation is actually about acting selflessly, right here in the real world. To put it in today's terms, it's like hitting send on a massive, high-stakes project at work. Instead of sitting there nervously refreshing your inbox for hours waiting for a reaction, you just close your laptop and move on to the next thing. You do the work, absolutely, but you're not obsessively chained to the outcome.
Section 2. The physics of the soul. The first law of thermodynamics.
All right, let's look at how the soul, or the Atman, fundamentally operates just like energy. In modern science, we have the first law of thermodynamics, right? It tells us that energy cannot be created or destroyed, it only transforms from one state to another. Now look at this direct parallel. Over in Chapter 2, verse 20 of the Bhagavad Gita, we're told the Atman, the soul, is indestructible, unborn, and never ceases to be. It simply discards old bodies and transitions into new forms. So the scientific law of energy conservation literally mirrors this ancient text description of our ultimate essence. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
Let's ground this abstract concept a bit. Just imagine a burning log of wood. When that wood burns away, the energy it held isn't destroyed. Not at all. It simply transforms into heat, into light, into ash. The total amount of energy in the universe remains exactly the same. So at our fundamental core, according to both physics and this ancient philosophy, we are eternal, constantly shifting systems of energy.
Section 3. Battling mental entropy. The second law of thermodynamics.
But, as we all know, energy doesn't just sit there perfectly tidy forever, right? It degrades. Let's define this strictly as a physics term first. Entropy is essentially the scientific measure of disorder or scrambled information. Left completely to their own devices, physical closed systems naturally drift toward chaos and randomness over time. That's just the rule. Now, let's translate that exact physical law directly to the human mind. Mental entropy is basically like a teenager's messy bedroom. Without constant energy and effort put in to clean it up, that room naturally gets messier, more chaotic, and way more disorganized over time. Similarly, our minds, when they're left completely unchecked and just bombarded with external desires and worries, they naturally drift towards anxiety and burnout. In the framework of the Gita, this scrambled information and mental chaos is exactly what karmic load is. So, that brings us to the crucial dilemma, doesn't it? How do we stop this mental energy leak? How do we prevent our minds from constantly degrading into this state of high entropy chaos?
Section 4. Your mental thermos. Achieving thermal equilibrium.
Well, the ancient solution to this exact mental energy leak is nishkama karma, or selfless action. Think about this mechanically for just a second. Worrying obsessively over an outcome creates massive mental friction. It is literally exactly like revving a car engine while it's stuck in neutral. You're creating a ton of heat, you're burning through all your precious fuel, but you're getting absolutely zero productive forward movement. You're expending all this energy on a future outcome that's entirely outside of your control, and that inevitably leads straight to exhaustion.
Let's neatly map these concepts out side by side so you can really grasp the exact brilliant parallels being drawn here. The first law of thermodynamics maps perfectly directly to the indestructible Atman. The second law, entropy, maps directly to karma and our natural drift toward mental chaos. And finally, the state of thermal equilibrium perfectly mirrors the Gita's concept of samatvam, or equanimity.
In physics, a closed system reaches thermal equilibrium when it stabilizes at a uniform temperature, completely unaffected by whatever is happening outside of it. It just becomes perfectly balanced. Well, the Gita calls this perfectly balanced mental state samatvam. It describes a truly wise person who remains unshaken in pleasure and pain, in success and failure. You basically just stop the internal friction. I actually love to use the mental thermos metaphor to visualize this. Think about it. If you pour boiling hot coffee into a truly high-quality thermos, it doesn't matter if there's a freezing, howling blizzard raging outside, right? The inside remains at a perfect, stable thermal equilibrium. By practicing detachment from outcomes, you're building that thermos. You're protecting your internal equilibrium from all those external storms. You become a highly efficient, perfectly balanced system.
Section 5. The Quantum Universe. Beyond Classical Physics.
Now, let's push past classical thermodynamics for a second and zoom way out to the macro level. In the epic narrative, Krishna reveals this cosmic, universal form to Arjuna, demonstrating that all beings, all planets, and literally all of existence are fundamentally woven together into a single unified whole. In modern physics, we actually have a name for this exact concept: quantum entanglement. Albert Einstein famously called it spooky action at a distance, where particles remain deeply connected and influence each other regardless of physical space. This deep interconnectedness was vividly described thousands of years before humanity even had the math to prove it.
And what about quantum superposition? In classical physics, a baseball can only be in your hand or on the table. It's limited, right? But in quantum superposition, an electron can exist in multiple places simultaneously. Now look back at the ancient text. It literally states that the Supreme Being is fully present in every scattered atom throughout the entire universe at the exact same time. What seems like a magical or impossible claim aligns absolutely perfectly with modern quantum behavior. The rules of reality are simply much bigger than our everyday physical limits. And this leads us right to the ultimate spiritual goal, moksha, or liberation. We can directly connect this to the third law of thermodynamics, which states that as a system cools down to absolute zero, its entropy reaches its minimum, perfectly ordered state. Spiritual practices and deep meditation basically serve as a cooling process. They cool down the mental agitation, they lower that karmic noise, and they bring you closer to zero entropy, where the mind returns to a state of pure, boundless potential. It's very much like an uncollapsed quantum wave function.
So, how do we actually apply this physics of the mind to prevent modern burnout in our own day-to-day lives? Well, it comes down to these 3 actionable steps. 1. Accept impermanence. You have to understand that, just like energy, everything is a constantly transforming system. 2. Perform your duties selflessly. Focus purely on the action itself to eliminate the friction of worry. And 3. Surrender outcomes. Simply letting go of the results dramatically lowers your mental entropy and keeps your internal energy incredibly intact.
Bridging ancient philosophical principles with strict physical laws isn't just some fun academic exercise, it actually provides a highly effective, real-world toolkit for modern mental health. So I want to end with this provocative thought, and I really want to challenge you to look at your own mind as a system of energy conservation. Are you using your energy efficiently right now, or are you fighting the universe by clinging to outcomes you simply cannot control? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I really hope this gives you a powerful new lens to view your mind, your actions, and your energy. I'll catch you next time.